Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and welcome back to another video. And this is Till from Germany. Very nice guy sent me this DVD, and this is why I want to do another review of this film that I love very much, and that is The Punisher from 1989. This is a DVD from overseas. It's not the one with the commentary, but I'm fine without the commentary, because to be honest, I don't care about the commentary with Mark Goldblatt, because I think this film deserves a lot more features. Making of, all sorts of stuff. But this, Tale from Germany, really nice looking set, because if you can hear that, there's a little bit of holographic look on the cover, so it looks like Dolph Lundgren is in front of his motorcycle. Can't catch on the camera. And it's also a tin, and it's a really good looking one. It's a 2-disc set. One is the movie, and one is the work print. I like the fact that on these bits you actually have the skull, the Punisher skull, right in the background there, as well as right there. And then even behind these, there's artwork, which is very nice. I mean, presentation looks very nice. There's Dolph Lundgren as Frank Castle, the Punisher, and there you go right there. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like this film. They still don't like this film. It is a lower budgeted film. It was supposed to go into theaters, but I believe New World went into bankruptcy, so thus this went straight to video. It went into theaters in other countries, but in the US it went straight to video, which is a shame. And I think there was talks of maybe doing a sequel, but because, again, that company got bankruptcy, and this went straight to video, so of course it didn't do that well. And I think Dolph Lundgren got the shaft in that. And I know a lot of people don't like this film. One thing I keep hearing is, he doesn't have the skull. He doesn't have the skull. And I'm like, I would like to hear the actual story. I've heard so many different stories. I heard that Mark Goldblatt or someone else didn't want the skull because they wanted to be more realistic. I've also heard that Marvel, which was in, like, I think in dire straits at that time, so that's why you saw them giving out films to be made of their. That was the way they were letting people make films of their comics, because they wanted the quick, easy cash and paychecks. That's why you saw like Captain America and how that Fantastic Four that was done just to keep the rights, but Roger Corman won. And this was another example of that. So Marvel said, okay, you can have the name, but there's other stuff you can't have. For example, you cannot have certain trademarks like the skull. So that Marvel said, okay, you can use the Punisher name, it could be Frank Castle, but you can't use the skull. And to be honest, I would not be surprised if Marvel did that, because they're like, no, don't use it for this film, because one day we're going to have a big budget movie, and we'll use it for that film. But this, yeah, we just want your money, but you can only use the bare essentials. I would not be surprised if that happened either. Then I remember hearing one point that there was an idea, it was never filmed, but there was an idea that the character would actually like spray paint a skull when he goes in the final battle onto like his chest, not his chest, but like his shirt, like. Shh. Either way, you know what? Okay, he doesn't have the skull. Okay, Wolverine has never worn his costume, and not many people gave a shit. The first X-Men movie, they all wore black. They even made a joke. What? You want to wear yellow spandex? They all wear black. Pretty much none of the X-Men characters in the first X-Men movie wore their costumes. They all wore black. And what does he wear? All black! But X-Men was okay, but this was a piece of shit because of it. Explain that to me. Wolverine has never worn his costume. He has never worn. You saw it once at the end of the Wolverine in a deleted scene, but he's never worn his costume. And hell, nowadays, you have movies where there's barely any fucking Iron Man suit in Iron Man. There's barely any Batman in Batman. So you barely see a Batman suit and stuff like The Dark Knight Rises. But those get praise. But oh, this is a piece of shit because he doesn't have a skull on his chest. Explain that to me. It's okay for X-Men and Wolverine to never do it, but oh, how dare they? Now, I know, of course, the other Punisher films, I do enjoy the 2004 Punisher film. I do without stuff like the fire hydrant scene, moving that and stuff. But I really like Thomas Jane. I really like that movie. I like the sort of old Western style to it. I enjoy the film. Saw that in the theater, really enjoy it. Punisher Warzone, I didn't care for because I didn't care for the lead guy playing the Punisher, Ray Stevenson. I didn't care for his acting. I didn't care for I didn't care for him at all. I know people are, well, really acting? Yeah, I like Dolph Lundgren and Thomas Jane more as actors and action stars than Ray Stevenson. So it's hard for me to get behind the film when I don't care about Ray Stevenson. I don't care if he looks like the guy. I don't give a shit. I don't care for him as an actor. And some of the stuff in that, the CGI, maybe a lot of that stuff was done practical, but there's a lot of CGI stuff, so it really did look like a cartoon. Hell, there's a guy who jumps and he Punisher fires a bazooka and the guy disappears in smoke. If you squint long enough, maybe you saw a body part fly, but when a guy disappears in a puff of smoke like he was fucking Wile E. Coyote, when the Punisher shoots a bazooka, it should have been like a practical blood explosion, not that I saw in shit like Street Trash. Not fucking Wile E. Coyote shit, but that's just my thoughts on it. I know a lot of people disagree. I would say if I had to think about it, this is my favorite Punisher film. I love Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher. I thought this was a very entertaining film. I thought Mark Goldblatt, this is a guy who only directed 2 films. Dead Heat with Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo, which that's a fun zombie cop buddy movie, and The Punisher. And he never directed again because he was mainly an editor. He edited Terminator and Terminator 2, Rambo 2, Commando, True Lies. He edited a lot of movies, so he knew how action scenes worked because he worked with a lot of good action films like Commando, Rambo 2, and Terminator 1 and 2. Well, this is before T2, but... And I thought Mark Goldblatt did a really great job directing, and this is a very fast pace. Thought it was very entertaining. Louis Gossett Jr. does a really great job. God, I need to get some of the quotes in here because I thought I had some really good quotes in the film. I always remember, what do you call 125 murders in 5 years? Work in progress. I always thought that was such a great line. Or the one guy saying, there's a limit to revenge. Well, I just haven't reached mine yet. I thought there was a lot of great lines of dialogue in this movie. And for a low-budget film, is a very entertaining, a lot of good action sequences. You want to see the Punisher kick some ass? The Punisher kicks some ass. He definitely does. You cannot say the Punisher doesn't kick ass in this movie. Just put a little bit of light in this shit. But in a way, that kind of matched the mood. Like the beginning of the theatrical. I mean, I like the way the opening credits happened. Well, yeah, like these glass images of bad guys and they shatter. Yeah, like this bullseye that keeps going, seeing all these like locations. I thought and I really enjoyed the score, the musical score. Which, damn it, who did the musical score? Which I actually have the CD. I actually have the musical CD over there, and the CD, the soundtrack, actually has a little bit of interview with Mark Goldblatt and the composer. So that was another reason why I wanted to get the CD, and I'm glad to have it. But yeah, Louis Gossett Jr. is great as a former partner of Frank Castle. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to find the music. Dennis Drath. I thought he did a good job with the score. It really fit the film well. Fit the film like a glove. And... not sure what else he's done. musical wise. But yeah, he did a great job with this one. But anyway, that'd be a question I would like to get a straight answer to. What was the reason behind not having the skull? Since people had, was it Marvel? Was the director? But I don't care. The essence of Frank Castle's here. You know, his family is murdered, and he goes and kicks a lot of ass. I can believe this guy had 125 murders in 5 years. I can believe that with this guy. And actually, Boaz Yakin wrote the film. This is the guy who went on to direct Remember the Titans and Safe. He wrote The Rookie in 1990. That's a Clint Eastwood film I like. Done a lot of stuff. So it's actually produced by Robert Mark Kamen. This is the guy who helped write The Karate Kid and a lot of other stuff. He produced this film. I guess before I really go into it, talk a little bit about the word print version. Because the word print version, the biggest difference in the word print version is the first 15 minutes of the film, which was completely cut out of the theatrical version. The first 15 minutes of this movie was cut out. Because I remember on the VHS tape, when I saw this all the time when I was a kid, and I remember actually the VHS tape I had of The Punisher, it actually had a trailer for Jacob's Ladder on it. That was the first time I saw a trailer of Jacob's Ladder. And on the back of the picture, there was on the back of the cover of the VHS, there was a picture of Dolph Lundgren in plain clothes. Louis Gossett Jr. is next to him, like pushing Dolph Lundgren's hand down who has a gun. And then there's like a woman who looks like a hooker right next to them. I'm like, what's that scene? I've never seen that before. That's not in the movie. But it was on the back cover of the VHS. Well, that was part of the first 15 minutes that was cut out. And to be honest, in my opinion, it should not have been cut out. I think if those first 15 minutes was in here, people... I'm not going to say people would like the film. If you don't like the film, fine, but I disagree. I think this is a great action movie. Definitely one of my favorite Dolph Lundgren films. I hope this gets a true special edition one day. It deserves it. I still think it's the best Punisher movie. I like the 2004 Punisher with Thomas Jane, but it's my favorite Punisher film. Because it just works as just a fun, kick-ass action movie. Even with its limitations and budget. But what I was saying is the first 15 minutes, it establishes Frank Castle, Dolph Lundgren's character, as a family man. It establishes his relationship with Louis Gossett Jr., their partners. Dolph Lundgren gives Louis Gossett Jr. this bottle. And it's labeled poison, which makes Louis Gossett Jr. laugh. And that's where you get the idea that he was an alcoholic and Dolph Lundgren helped Louis Gossett Jr. out. You hear that a little bit in dialogue later in the film, but you see it established here that they're friends, and Dolph Lundgren even gives him some food that Dolph Lundgren's wife made to help Louis Gossett Jr. out. They have a little bit of fun back and forth with each other. You actually have a little bit of an action scene taken out where these bad guys are doing this deal next to this empty arena, sort of next to an empty boxing ring or wrestling ring. And Dolph Lundgren kicks a guy and shoots a guy, saving Louis Gossett Jr.'s life. And the hooker is actually an undercover cop. And that's the girl that would later on in the film partner up with Louis Gossett Jr. Because she even says in the theatrical cut as well, "Oh, I was the hooker." That's relating to this first 15 minutes. And then one of the bad guys gets away, and that's where you get the scene on the back of the VHS cover where Louis Gossett Jr. says, "Hey, we'll get him later." You have a scene where Louis Gossett Jr. confronts our bad guy, Jeroen Krabbé, who, of course, we later see in the film. Gives him some papers, he's got to stay, and he's like, "Wait a minute, I thought..." The bad guy talks to another bad guy saying, "I thought you took care of it." You get more with him and his family. Like, you actually see the little kids. You see little flashbacks later on in the theatrical cut of the film, but it's really established. And Dolph Lundgren does a good job acting-wise. He's just a regular guy. He's a family man. He's a loving father and husband. I like that the little kids actually have Spider-Man pajamas. That's a note because the first time you saw Punisher was in a Spider-Man comic book. And the first 15 minutes establishes his partnership with Louis Gossett Jr., his relationship with his family, and then the death of his family by a car bomb, and he's trying to get him out and it explodes, and you see Louis Gossett Jr., he's actually there as well, and the look of horror on his face of what happened, and then that would have led into how the film starts with, that one guy, bad guy coming in, and about how, 5 years this mysterious vigilante called the Punisher has been killing bad guys. Those first 15 minutes would help establish the character of Frank Castle. And I don't know why it was cut out. It was just because they wanted just an action movie and get to the point. But I wasn't bored by this 15 minutes. I wasn't bored by it. I wasn't annoyed by it. I liked it. And I feel it should have been in the theatrical cut, and maybe it would have eased a little bit of people's opinions on the film, at least a little bit. But that's just my opinion. That's really the biggest. There's a couple little alterations, like the ending, skipping ahead, where how he kills Jeroen Krabbé is very weak and lame. It's very quick and anticlimactic. Like, there's no struggle and fight or anything. And then when the kid has a gun, instead of calmly talking to the kid like in the theatrical cut, he actually puts the gun and says, do it, come on, shoot me now, kid, do it. It's a little bit more violent. I like the way it was done in the theatrical cut better, where it's more of a calm, like he's calm about, he's not afraid to die. He's fine with it. I like the way it was done in the theatrical cut. I thought that was the right choice, but cutting the first 15 minutes out, I thought was the wrong choice. But, I mean, those are really the biggest differences between the word print and the theatrical cut, at least that I noticed. And of course, it doesn't have the opening credits and the end credits and the music by Dennis Drath. You have little pieces of score from, like, Runaway and a little bit from Aliens and stuff like that. And into the film itself, I mean, I love the film. I love the monologues that Dolph Lundgren has, which I know people are like, come on, he's naked, he's butt naked in the sewer. I'm like, well, he's crazy. That's the point. He's fucking crazy. He's the Punisher. I'd rather have that than the fucking jigsaw with an American flag behind him in Warzone. And yeah, I really like some of the monologues in this. And I thought Dolph Lundgren does a good job. He did a good job in the first 15 minutes of the word print that I saw of being a family man, and then him just, he was Frank Castle. He was, the dialogue here. I still talk to God sometimes. I ask him if what I'm doing is right or wrong. I'm still waiting for an answer, and until I get one, I'll be waiting, watching. The guilty will be punished. And that's actually the last bit of dialogue in the film. And then I like this bit of monologue. Come on, God, answer me. For years I've been asking why. Why are the innocent dead and the guilty alive? Where is justice? Where is punishment? Or have you already answered? Have you already said to the world, here is justice, here is punishment, here, and me? Again, I really think there's a lot of good dialogue in this film. Again, what the fuck do you call 125 murders in 5 years? Work in progress. That's like one of my favorite lines. And he even mentioned a Batman, like the other villain, Lady Tanaka, has Frank, the Punisher captured. It's like, who sent you? Batman. And of course it makes sense because Batman was coming out later on in 1989 in the summer. And it's definitely an R-rated film. I mean, hell, the way the theatrical cut starts, in less than 5 minutes, you already got action. The Punisher punishing bad guys. Hiding up above and having a knife boom right into the guy's chest. Strangling a guy, hanging him, kicking a guy off and falling to his death. Blowing the whole fucking place up, and reporters are outside, and the bad guy comes out, and there's a knife in his back. And the knives, some of the knives have skulls on them, so you do have skulls in it, but the movie's a piece of shit because there's no skull on his chest, even though a lot of fucking superheroes don't even have their own goddamn costumes anymore, but they're okay, but this, how dare this movie? It's a low-budget action film that kicks more ass than a lot of action films today, who have like 10 times the budget. And yeah, I really like Louis Gossett Jr. It's definitely better than last time these two worked together, which was Cover Up, which was a piece of shit movie. Louis Gossett Jr., he's likable. He's a very good actor. And again, when you saw the first 15 minutes of the work print, you got a little bit more that they were friends and they were partners, and I still think they should have kept that in from the and not cutting that out. But Louis Gossett Jr. is searching for this guy, and again, you get a little bit backstory that they were partners, and he helped him out when he was an alcoholic, and there was one guy who wanted to learn from the guy who wrote the book, which happened to be me. And I like that. I mean, and Louis Gossett Jr. wants to help his friend. And I like that bit of business. I do. I mean, that appealed to me more than... I know he's in the comics, but Microchip or whoever and Punisher Warzone, or even the Three Neighbors and the Punisher. I like the Punisher from 2004, but those Three Neighbors, including Mystique herself, Rebecca Romaine, I like Louis Gossett Jr. a hell of a lot more in this film than those three guys. I mean, for people who know the Punisher, Frank Castle, Louis Gossett Jr. was definitely the best of any of the movies. And he has a couple of fun stuff which I'll get to. I even like there's this old guy who in the past was probably he was a theater actor, but he's a drunk, and he gets some information for the Punisher. And another thing I liked about the film is I like the idea that, okay, you have the mob, but they've been so decimated by the Punisher that now the Yakuza has come in and they want to take over. So I like the fact that, A, the Punisher actually did affect something, made the mob guys so weak, so him doing something actually had an effect. And then I like the fact you put this Yakuza element into it. I thought that was really cool. Putting a Yakuza element to it. And then later on, when these Yakuza kidnap the mob boss's kids, and you have kids in peril, again, I thought that was a really good idea. And so the Punisher, granted, because of his 5-year killing spree, it made the mob bosses weak enough to not protect their kids, and now the Punisher, he's going to go help the kids out, because in a way, he helped cause this, but that wasn't his intention. He's going to do the right thing. But also the action scenes are a lot of fun. I mean, hell, when the Yakuza is killing the mob bosses at this dockyard, at these docks, I mean, fun. The Punisher shoots like a little bow and arrow grappling thing, hits a guy, hooks him into the van, and Dolph Lundgren, the Punisher, is hanging down with his Dennis Truth music going, really exciting, hanging down, gets down, pulls out a shotgun, running, grabs a chain, sits in the guy's face, shoots him, guy flies back, there's a fucking van, gets on top, stabs the motherfucker, rolls him, shoots, boom, hits a guy. I'm like, you want to see the Punisher doing his thing? This is the movie that does it. So I don't understand. Hey, I want to see the Punisher be a badass. He's a fucking badass. What's the problem? What's the fucking problem? He gets hit, he goes down, but he's not down for the count. You even have a moment where he, badass moments you see in a couple films like Rambo 3 where you get the knife, you heat it up, and all this time, Louis Gossett Jr. gets sort of a new partner, this woman who, again, you would know more of who she is in the first 15 minutes. She was the rookie undercover cop who played the hooker. But she wants to help Louis Gossett Jr. out. You also a little bit with the other mob guys trying to deal with the Yakuza. I like Jeroen Krabbé. I thought he did a good job in his character. I forgot what the hell his character's name was. But I thought he did a good job with his role. I'll look him up real quick. And I thought he's actually a pretty decent actor as Franco. And also Kim Miyori as the leader of the Yakuza, Lady Tanaka. I thought they both did a good job. And Nancy Everhard, who I remember from Deep Star 6, I thought she did a good job as the female cop who wants to help out Louis Gossett Jr. Yeah, she starred in Deep Star 6, that's right. I thought she did a good job in this film. And I don't think anyone really did a bad job acting-wise. And you just have fun action scenes. I mean, hell, there's a scene where he busts into this, from the up above into this casino, has this big fucking gun that you see on the cover, and just goes to town, lifts this guy up. You tell your bosses that each day they have the children is going to cost them money. Throwing knives into people's necks and shit, getting this machine gun, blowing the fuck out all the slot machines. Even like a grenade launcher catches a guy. I did a shitty job with trying to replicate the musical score, but I thought the music is great in this film, the score, and just him tearing the shit out of all these machines. And again, like even when the bad guy, when the Yakuza's kidnapping the kids, he has some ballsy stuff. I mean, yeah, like 2 kids in front of a nanny who has a bear, and they come in, they just shoot the nanny right through the toy bear, and blood splats. I'm like, oh shit, that's kind of ballsy. And the bad guys, slap some fucking kids around, and you have another scene where the old guy helps him get to this sort of abandoned or empty amusement park. And you have another exciting action scene where all these ninjas are coming out of the woodwork, and he's just, throwing grenades, pooh, shooting and shooting. This guy gets behind him. Oh, you motherfucker. He doesn't say that, but you get the look on his face, and he's just like, fuck you. Again, he doesn't say that, but that's sort of the movement. And he's running and shooting, going on a motorcycle, he gets flipped off, still trying to fight, gets knocked out, and that's where you get that scene where it's like, who sent you? Batman. It's like, you cost us a lot of money. Do you know how much pain $10,000 can buy? Is this question true or false or multiple choice? Again, I thought Dolph Lundgren did a great job, and he gets out of it. His buddy's there, he saves him. Again, I thought this is a really fun, fast-paced, entertaining film. Even to the point where, he rescues the kids, and he gets all the kids out except one, which is Jeroen Krabbé, his kid. But he gets all the other kids, gets them on a bus. He had a fun chase sequence. A bad guy even flies through the front of the bus, and Dolph Lundgren has to fight him and kick him off the bus. He's hitting these guys up front till they, crash their vehicle, and gets the kids to safety, and he gets arrested for it. You have a great acting moment between Louis Gossett Jr., who sees his friend Frank Castle, the Punisher, in jail. And I thought it was a really great sequence, acting scene, where, Louis Gossett's like, let me in, let me in. They were my family too. Let me in, let me in. And before that, I will look at you for 5 years, man. Like, Louis Gossett Jr., I'm like, he's trying to go for his second Oscar in this scene. Because he won for An Officer and Gentleman. He did a really great job, and I thought Dolph Lundgren held his own. And that's where you get that line, work in progress line. And, Louis Gossett Jr. is like, they don't put you in the electric chair. There's nothing I can do. Fuck you. I thought it was a really good acting scene. Still think it's a really good acting scene. And pretty much he's in a transport. Some bad guys grab him. And pretty much Jeroen Krabbé has grabbed the Punisher because he wants the Punisher's help to get his son back. And he doesn't want to do it at first, but they have Louis Gossett Jr. tied up with a gun to his head. And I like that. Again, if you saw the first 15 minutes of the film, you get even more of that feeling behind that. And the Punisher does it. But when this is over, you're dead. And this is what I'm talking about long before, where Uh, Louis Gossett Jr. has a fun scene where he's tied up and there's these bad guys, and he's like, I have to take a leak. Well, you think your boss will be happy with a stain on the seat? And they start unlocking his handcuffs to do that, and Louis Gossett Jr. says something like, "Oh, one thing I was asking, is there an IQ test to have this job?" "No." "No, I didn't think so." And he walks up, and the other bad guy's like, "Hey, I got the pizza." Just knocks him out, like flips the pizza in the guy's face, just knocks him out real quick. Then looks around, takes a piece of pizza, and leaves. I love Louis Gossett Jr. in this film. I love it. That's why I would love to have seen a sequel. To see more of the Punisher, maybe more of Louis Gossett Jr. going after him. I would love to have seen a sequel to this. I would love to have seen that. And who knows, in this world, to see someone like Jigsaw or something like that, that'd be nice. That'd be really cool. Would love to have seen that. And pretty much that's where, anyway, these two, the Punisher and Jeroen Krabbé, they're going off to rescue Jeroen Krabbe's kid, and that's where you get the line where he asks the Punisher, there's a limit to revenge. And Dolph goes, "Well, I just haven't reached mine yet." And this one time about action, like the doors open and there's like 50 guys, who are, because it's like a big dojo type thing, and they have swords and stuff, and they both just go in, just wiping all these guys out. Even hitting the guy, grabbing the sword, stabbing the guy, and kick him or get him into the elevator. And then there's another guy come and shoots him. Not that way. See, the Punisher is a fucking badass in this movie. Even to a point, like, there's a scene where he's walking down, he just gets a knife and does like this. And then takes out his shotgun or whatever and keeps walking, and then the guy falls through the wall. I'm like, that's a badass. And, of course, Dolph Lundgren is a martial artist, so he can fight. I will say, in the work print, he fights these two guys. It's a bit longer in the work print. It's a little bit longer in the work print. So I would like to have seen the full version of that fight on the theatrical cut. That's one thing I'll say is that, again, the work print, that fight is a little bit longer because I know he beats up one guy, and then there's another guy who gets back up, and you see like Dolph Lundgren do like a spin kick, hitting the guy. I don't remember, like spin get into the guy's chest or something. Not the one that makes the guy fall to his death, but during another fight. There's like little bits. I've seen this movie so many times, and when I watch a word print, I'm like, wait, that bit's not in there, and that bit's not in there. So I know the fight in the word print version is a bit longer. So everybody might see that full version in the theatrical cut. But, trying to think. That's a fun scene because I think it says something here with those two guys. I'm looking up the trivia of the film. All the fight scenes were performed with real content by the actors to give the fight a sense of realism. Because the Kyokushin karate champions Kenji Yamaki and Hirofumi Kaneyama's sense of honor would not allow them to fake it. So wow, Dolph was getting the shit kicked out of him. It looked like it, and I thought it was very well done. Even later on, he takes on like Lady Tanaka's pupil, and she's like fucking Dolph Lundgren up. Even has these earrings that are like blades, and even has this thing on the side of her foot, kind of like, well, not really like Van Damme had in Cyborg, because they like come off from the side, they cut up Dolph. But then this is just like badass brutality. He just grabs the girl and breaks her fucking neck, and she drops like a doll and goes off. And then Jeroen Krabbé, he gets to his son, and Lady Tanaka has the son and tells the guy, put the gun in your mouth and pull the trigger, otherwise I'll kill your son. Making a father, even though he's a bad guy, kill himself in front of his son, again, kind of ballsy. But the Punisher just goes in, throws the fucking knife, boom, right into the chick's head. And then gets in a fight with Jeroen Krabbé, a struggle, shoots him. And the kid's like, oh, I'm going to kill you, because the Punisher, well, hey, the Punisher defended himself. And that's where, and I like the way it's done, like I said, in theatrical version better, where he gets, puts it down there and says, okay, maybe if you do this now, you'll get out of your system. You won't be like him when you grow up. Do it. Do it. You're a good boy. Because he doesn't do it. If he did do it, then he wouldn't be a good boy. You're a good boy. Grow up to be a good man. Because if you don't, I'll be waiting. And he walks off, and Gossett Jr. gets there at the last minute, and he's yelling for his friend. He's gone, and that's where, like I said, you get that last bit of dialogue about I still talk to God sometimes. I ask him what I'm doing is right or wrong. I'm still waiting for an answer. Until I get one, I'll be waiting, watching. The guilty will be punished. And then, like, the tiles come up. I'm like, yeah, this is a really badass, fast-paced, fun action movie. I think Dolph Lundgren does a good job. I like the bad guys being Yakuza, and it's just a really badass thing. Really fucking badass. I love this movie. I love this movie very much. I have no problems with it, other than I wish the first 15 minutes of the word print was put back, and also that fight scene Dolph has with those two guys, have that full scene put back in as well. But I think the score is well done, fits the film like a glove. Gossett Jr. is great as in the supporting actor role. I think the bad guys did their jobs well. I like Dolph Lundgren. I think the had fight scenes, had gunfights, had Dolph Lundgren's Punisher being a badass, huge body count. Definitely like that song "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor." Really works in the essence of this movie. If you wonder what I'm doing, I'm just going through what it says on trivia. And granted, just because it's on IMDb doesn't mean it's true, but I'm just looking. Dolph Lundgren did most of his own stunts. I could believe that. Let's see. Now it says here Marvel Comics, who were in financial dire straits at the time, only granted the filmmakers a provisional license on rights for the character of the Punisher. This effectively meant that the production team could only really use the name of the character and not any of his defining traits, including his famous skull t-shirt. But then there's other sources that say, well, it wasn't used because it was for realism and shit. That's what I mean. Give me a straight fucking answer. Sequel was planned, but New World's financial difficulties and eventual bankruptcy killed any plans for a sequel. The New York thrash metal band Biohazard samples one of the Punisher's dialogues in their song Punishment. The part they sample for the movie goes, "Come on, God, answer me for years. Where is justice? Where is punishment?" Oh, I already said that line. Here is punishment, here in me. Huh. Let's see. Michael Pare was originally sought for the lead role. Interesting, but I like Dolph Lundgren more. Let's see. In the comic book, Frank's wife and children were murdered when witnessing a mafia gangland execution. Will saw an afternoon picnic in New York Central Park. In the film, unlike the comic, Frank's wife and children are murdered in a car bombing by the mob. That doesn't bother me that that's different. See, when stuff is that different, that doesn't bother me. Because it's still, your family got killed because of the mob. It's, mafia mob, it's still the same thing. It's just, okay, car bomb instead of in Central Park. 91 people are killed individually on screen in this movie, not including those who die en masse in explosions. Like I said, this is definitely a big body count movie. Producer Robert Mark Kamen revised and rewrote Boaz Yakin's original screenplay to make a few changes, including adding a Lethal Weapon-like prologue, which was filmed but ultimately omitted in the editing room, only leaving flashbacks, like in Yakin's initial script. Well, I think that opening should have kept in there. I don't think it should have been cut out. But yeah, I mean, it's a 5.6. I think it could be a lot higher in IMDb. This is just an awesome film. I don't understand the hate that this film gets. Other than they're not a fan of Dolph Lundgren. Okay, if you're not a fan of Dolph Lundgren, okay. But if you're a fan of Dolph Lundgren, I am. I don't understand what's not to like about this film. You know, his get-up is badass. He kicks a lot of ass. Louis Gossett Jr. does a great job. The score fits the film like a glove. Mark Goldblatt, for this being his second film, and like his first action film, because Dead Heat had a little bit of action in it, but it was more like zombie, buddy cop, comedy, a little bit of horror, a little bit of all different things. This being his first true action film, he did a great job. And the fact he never directed again is bullshit. Mark Goldblatt did a good job. He should have gotten a lot more chances to direct. A lot more fucking chances. And that's fucking bullshit. I was surprised as shit. Like, he only directed 2 movies? That's bullshit. I'll say right now, this is one of my favorite comic book movies. Because it got the essence of Frank Castle. Frank Castle is a crazy motherfucker that punishes the guilty. You got that in this movie. You got that he was crazy. You got that he lost his marbles. But what, you know, I thought Dolph Lundgren did a great job with it. Bad guys like the fact that Yakuza. I've said this like 50 times now. I love this film. I love this film a lot. I grew up with this film, not just because of nostalgia. I think this is what you want in an action movie. You want a badass hero. You want some good supporting actors like Louis Gossett Jr. Great score. A lot of action scenes. A lot of kicking ass, taking names. Whether you got some fisticuffs, you got some gunplay. It's rated R. Got some couple of blood squibs. Fast paced. Even with those first 15 minutes, if that was in, this would still be a fast paced movie. And straightforward. It's not a lot of bullshit. It's not fucking Jigsaw standing in front of a fucking American flag. Stupid shit. These are bad guys that are taking kids and shooting nannies in front of little kids with blood splats over the toy bear. And actually, in the word print, when the Yakuza are getting the like the Yakuza are taking over the mob on these docks, you realize that one of them actually cut someone's hand off, which I don't think you see in the theatrical. You see that he's cut, but I don't think you get the idea that his hand actually got cut off. I'm like, I saw it in the word print. I'm like, that guy's hand got cut off during when they get on this boat and kill some of the mob guys, or at least these fishermen guys that are going to meet the mob. This is before the Punisher comes in and fucks some shit up. This is a badass movie. Love this movie. And this is a great looking set. I mean, sort of holographic, a little bit 3D, and in a tin, and having the war print on there as well. Very cool. So, and it's just, again, very nice looking set. And both the war print and the theatrical are in English, which is nice. So, very nice indeed. But anyway, that's my review on The Punisher. I think it's a badass movie. One of my favorite Dolph Lundgren films. My favorite's always going to be I Come in Peace, but this is definitely one of my favorite comic book movies and one of my favorite Dolph Lundgren movies. And I don't know what more I can say other than got some work in progress.